You ever heard of a 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle that smelled like pickles? You might now. Hey, it's Mike. Thanks for tuning back in. So this is a really fun story. First of all, I had no power all day yesterday, which is difficult. I had a video I wanted to put out. I guess I'll try to put it out tomorrow, although I've got a really busy day. And we got the power back around 11 p.m. last night. I was sound asleep, of course. What are you going to do at past your bedtime when there's no power? Thrilled to have power. Wake up this morning and have power again. That's 2 insane storms in 2 weeks here in Maine in the spring when we had a light winter for snow. But what are you going to do? It's the Northeast. So this story is fun. First of all, my latest pickup is this Pedro. This is my 10th of the 11 Pedro Martinez prospect cards in the PSA registry for Pedro prospect cards. I'm really excited to add this. I am now in 4th on the prospect registry set. I will never be in first. My friend John is actually gunning for first. I hope to have him on once he gets there, which is hopefully soon. I would love to get to first place, obviously, but I'm not going to chase it. I've got other things. I just want to have all 11 of the cards and be in the registry as part of the set. And remember, before I move on again, sorry to delay, I know I'm going to get complaints, but I'm still giving away this Mel-Ott through most of the month of April by signing up for my newsletter. Link in description, junkwaxhero.beehive.com. Sign up for that. It's free. Weekly newsletter every Monday is free, and you will be entered. I have doubled the number of subscribers I have. I'm up over 540 subscribers to the newsletter, so that's really exciting. I have a really, really exciting project I'm going to be announcing probably late April, early May. So, all right, this is the Pickles mantle. So Darren's grandfather passed away in around 2005, it sounds like. And when he passed away, Darren's grandmother went through his stuff, went into their cold room, which I had never heard of a cold room before, and I live in Maine. I guess every room is kind of cold. But they have a cold room, and I Googled what a cold room, and it's basically just a room in your basement that isn't insulated, I guess. So it's cold, and you keep food storage in there and stuff. So he had, when she was going through the cold room, she discovered a box of vintage baseball cards, and she said it was on a shelf under the Pickles. So I don't know if there was like Pickles on a shelf, and then on the shelf underneath that it was Pickles, or if this box had Pickles stacked on top of it. I don't know, but I like to think that it was just mixed in with Pickles, and then the card smelled like Pickles, which makes this a lot more fun. I wonder if PSA smells the cards and your grade is based on the smell. This gets the pickle downgrade. This is a 1. So she found this box of cards and didn't know what to do with it, and she thought apparently it would be a nice inheritance for his 3 grandchildren. So she just randomly mixed cards from the box into 3 different shoe boxes for his 3 grandchildren and then handed them to them. These are some baseball cards and hockey and football cards that your grandfather collected, and he would want you to have these. And there was no thought to how they were distributed, and Darren took his and then forgot about it for 15 years. And in 2001, his wife, Andrea, was looking to open up the box and immediately recognized one of the cards, which was the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle. As most people, I think, do, right? If you follow the news, you've probably seen the Mantle card before and would recognize it. You'd be able to pick it out of a lineup. Like if I showed you, you have no interest in cards. If I showed my wife 10 cards, I think, and I said, which one of these do you recognize? She would recognize the Mantle, right? I feel like that makes sense, even though she watches Chasing Cardboard with me. So she reached out to Just Collect, and Just Collect actually sponsors my channel. So this is a perfect opportunity. Just Collect is led by Leighton Sheldon, one of the top buyers of vintage cards and collections in the country. You can fill out their free appraisal form at justcollect.com or email Leighton directly at leighton@justcollect.com for an offer. Link is in the description, and that is what she did. She reached out to him via their appraisal form, and he immediately knew that he wanted to see these cards in person. But they lived in Canada, and he is in New Jersey, and they wanted to get them to him, obviously, and so he offered them his free, fully insured 2-day shipping through FedEx. And they popped them into FedEx and got them to New Jersey. The mantle, as you can see here, let me move over a little bit so I can fit it a little bigger. The mantle, he knew immediately, Leighton knew, that it was in poor condition. The question was, is it going to come back a 1 or an authentic? And the difference in values can be pretty drastic. A 1 at the time, and remember this is mid-2021, a 1 was going for about $30,000. An authentic was going for between $10,000 and $30,000, depending on the condition. And I'm guessing that based on all the creases in this one, it would have been on that lower end of $10,000. And so Leighton wanted to give them a fair offer based on what the card would come back as. So he mailed the mantle off to PSA with their permission, and it came back a 1. And so, to me, in my opinion, that means more value for Darren and Andrea, which is great. And so that's what Leighton based his appraisal and his offer on. Was he said that the bulk of this collection value was tied up in that mantle, as you can imagine. And so he offered them a fair offer, and they accepted, and so he kept the collection there. If they don't accept, then he mails it back on them, on his dime, in his FedEx account. So no, I feel like there's very low risk in mailing a collection to a reputable dealer, as long as you know what that policy is up front. I find it interesting that there was a 52 Topps Mantle card in Canada. Like, was he crossing the border? Were they distributing them in Canada? I don't know how that worked back then. O-Pee-Chee didn't start distributing Topps cards until 1958, or they entered the agreement in 58. So it's interesting, like how did this gentleman end up with 1952 Topps cards in Canada? I love this mystery. I wish I had an answer for you. I don't. But he did. He had a lot of 1952 Topps cards. He had a lot of hockey and football cards. Now, why is a 1 mantle? If you're new here, you're probably wondering, why is this poor condition Mickey Mantle so valuable? So valuable, it's not even his rookie card. 1951 Bowman is Mantle's rookie card, but it's the most iconic sports card, right? And by the way, my big announcement, my big project I'm working on with my newsletter is all about iconic sports cards. So this is very relevant to me, and the mantle has to be the most iconic, right? Is it the Hannes Wagner? Is it the Jordan 86 Fleer? Let me know in comments what you think. I'm very curious for your opinion. And so if you're not already familiar with the story, the mantle, card number 311, was a high series, in the 6th series released by Topps in 1952. And a lot of people had already started buying football cards. They were following football at this point. They came out late in 1952, and they just weren't popular anymore. And they couldn't sell them. Topps could not sell the 52. And it's rumored, and I think Cy Berger confirmed it, but there are a lot of people who are very skeptical of this story, that Cy Berger and Topps ended up at some point later on, like around 1960-ish, I think. They dumped them into the Atlantic Ocean, maybe? It's a crazy story, but it makes them far more rare. And the pop, it's in the 2000s, I think, of the 1952 mantle in any grade. But yeah, it's a fun story. I'm really interested in Darren's story, and I don't know, his grandfather and how he obtained these. But came back a 1. Leighton ended up buying them, and looking at this is a really fun collection of hockey cards, football cards, baseball cards, 1952 Topps cards. The only card I saw that looked to be of any major value, and feel free to tell me, you're an idiot, there's so much more in here, but it was like a 3rd year Bobby Hull card, which probably worth a few $100s, and the rest of them probably were fairly easily sold if priced appropriately, because these vintage cards are highly desirable. And that's what makes this fun. So, let me know what you think. Should PSA grade based on the smell? Is it possible to smell a card through a PSA slab? Probably not. So probably doesn't matter. I just like the thought of them smelling it and going, why does it smell like pickles? All right, that's it. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you have a great weekend. Make sure you subscribe to my newsletter. Like I said, link is in the description.